We want to kind of introduce ourselves and tell you a little bit about our story here because it's really what put us in our dream. This is actually the spot. We were standing right on that spot. I had hiked up there from that beach where we decided to live here in Kauai, and that's actually the view from the other side. So we're living in our dream now, and we have been for a long time. The reason is we got ready to learn. So how did a couple that had failed 5 times in network marketing and gone into virtual bankruptcy in the Boston area move beachfront in Kauai? Well, we got ready to learn. It really didn't start out like that, so I want you to relax. Mike and Scott wanted you to know something about us, and quite candidly, I'd want to know the credentials of the training architects of a system that I was being encouraged to follow. So in the 90s, we were the top 50 earners with a company called Market America, named as Trainer of the Year out of 80,000 candidates in 1998. I stopped building there in 97, left in 99, but collected residuals through 2010, which is sweet. I hit Diamond, the top pin level, at a company called MBC. I was in the top 10 at a company called RQ, and the Eagles Club, which was the top 5 with a company called ProStep. We already told you we're in the top 50 earners out of over 1 million reps. We did it in less than 12 months and in less than 12 hours a week. That's, in fact, where Davine and myself met Mike. What's really important is each one of these deals and a few others that you don't see that we built to top earner levels, we did it with no herding. We built everything from scratch. We sold all our MLM ventures off by 2010 and formed Training Solutions serving both the corporate world, direct sales companies, as well as network marketing companies. Been very, very blessed in this industry, winning trips all over the world. There's a picture of us riding some elephants in Thailand, winning awards for highest retention, fastest growing, and so forth. But the most important picture is the one on the right. We have a choice of what we do with our life. We can get up in the morning and do yoga. There you see me doing some yoga out in the backyard, on the cliffs, overlooking the ocean. And it all happened because we were ready to learn. There's somewhere between 40,000 and 150,000 MLM blogs out there. The results are in by the readers. In 2013, we're in the top 20 worldwide. The significant difference between us and all the others in the top 50, we didn't spend 10 cents on advertising. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking, hey, I don't want to see a travel business. I'm ready. Let's just get going here. Well, I want to assure you, like I told you at the beginning, when I showed you those pictures, it didn't start out that way for me. I had failed 5 times in network marketing in the 80s, and they were all excellent companies. I was with them at their premium growth period. It didn't grow for me. And had a nice little seafood business that was paying my bills and quite a bit extra. But the law changed in 93. The same day that the law changed, and I took a 25% cut in pay and was going to get another 25% cut in pay in another 90 days, I found out, and it was a great thing that happened, but it was still a little overwhelming, that I was going to be the full-time parent of 2 kids, Derek and Chelsea, my 2 kids. And the next day, my mother went blind, and I became the primary caretaker for her. I had no time. I had no options. My pay was going down. So I reluctantly took another look at network marketing. I want to tell you a couple of things about this picture in that cheesy apartment. First of all, the blue arrow, that's about as close as I was getting to Hawaii. That's actually one of those fake palm trees. I had a few of those hanging up around the house. But the most important thing in that picture is the phone. There it is, not being used. And I simply didn't know what to do. So the question really becomes, what changed? How did you go from broke in Boston to beachfront in Kauai? I'm sure the one phrase that caught your eye so far is Mike's $1 million discovery. It's actually a multi-million-dollar discovery, and the best way to tell this story is to turn the clock all the way back to 2004. He was doing okay as a networker, not great, not bad, working really hard when he joined our team, and he was an unusual guy, and we chatted until the wee small hours of the morning. I could see right away that Mike was very different. And at that point, I had been in the industry successfully for about 12 years, and I'd never really met anyone like him. His upline actually gave him to us because he asked the hard questions. He said, the guy's always asking these hard questions about the business. The reality is, after those chats until the wee small hours of the morning, Mike got it, and he became a top producer. He became the youngest and the most effective trainer on our team. And the truth is, he's got the touch, and it all revolves around one simple principle. So what did Mike and I talk about for hours and hours into the wee small hours of the morning? The first thing Mike wanted to know was how come everybody says if you treat it like a business, it'll pay you like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. And the reason he wanted to know that was he noticed what I did, that nobody ever says anything after they make that statement. So let's get serious here. What do really successful business people do in all walks of life? Well, when they enter an industry, they study the industry, and then they drill down and study their niche so that they can leverage the strengths and plan around the weaknesses. Mike was shocked at our research. Less than 1% of the people in network marketing, really close to 0.01%, are earning that big gangster money. Now, this is the proof that we promised that people don't know the real target. You can look it up. All you have to do is take the top earners and divide by the total amount of distributors, and you'll not only find that less than 0.01% are earning gangster money, only about 2% are earning very good incomes. So Mike started to study our research. We represent a company, or our company actually is Training Solutions, and at that point we had done over 10 years of research on the industry and let Mike know it had all begun with Pareto and Deming. So Mike says, look, I want to know who Pareto and Deming are, and you should too, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But he kept peppering us with questions. I see other big earners working full-time. How is it that you make what top earners make, but you only do it in about 12 hours a week? It's all about understanding the power of a system we shared with Mike, and that system must be based on both plan and purpose. Where's the plan come from? By studying the industry. In other words, what's the point of a system if it's simply a reformatting or updating of previous systems that delivered substandard results? Remember, less than 0.01% are making big money and less than 3% are earning. Those are poor numbers. It's kind of like grandma's ham. And it was Pareto and Deming that cracked the code for us and eventually for Michael. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. What the hell is grandma's ham? And for goodness sakes, what does that have to do with me making it in Social Zing? I just want to get my business started. But remember what good business people do. They study the industry, and this little story helped Michael understand the power of a system. Now, shortly, in just a minute or two, you're going to be asked to participate actually with your finger on the screen in an interactive exercise so you can learn exactly what Michael learned, and that led to the success that he had. So this Easter ham story. This little girl goes to her mom and says, hey, Mom, can I help you make Easter ham this year? And, of course, the mom's all excited. She's going to be able to cook with her daughter. And so they pull out the ham, and the mother cuts the end of the ham off. And the little girl says, Mommy, why'd you cut the end of the ham off? And the mommy says, gee, that's a good question. Let's call Grandma. So they call Grandma and say, why did you teach me to cut off the end of the ham? And she said, that's a good question. Let's call Great-Grandma. So they call Great-Grandma up, and Great-Grandma just laughs and laughs and laughs. And she says, oh, when Grampy and I first came to this country, we didn't have a pot big enough to hold the whole ham, so we had to cut the end off. This is a profound story because generation after generation in that family, for no reason, cut the end of the ham off. And the same is true about training in the network marketing industry. Year after year, decade after decade, it continues to offer this incredible business model with abysmal results. So the first thing Michael understood was the power of a system that worked, that was based on both plan and purpose. So let's go over that, and then why Pareto and Deming put you actually on the precipice of history. Now, this next step, like I said, is interactive. Winners will engage and make a lot of money. Losers, they simply will skip over the next two slides. Michael didn't skip over them. I'm really urging you not to do that. Now, in a moment, you're going to see a slide, and when you see it, take your finger and point to the number 1. Just absolutely touch the screen. Then the number 2, then the number 3, and so forth. And I'm going to give you about 35 seconds to do that, and remember the number that you end up with when I say stop. All right, go. Find the number 1, 2, 3, and so forth, and see what you can get to in about 35 seconds. Just point there right with your finger.
Threat has been detected.
Okay, let's stop and remember the number that you have. Now we're going to repeat this, but only this time we're going to show you the value of a system. I'm going to give you the same amount of time, but I want you to know that the number 1 is in the A quadrant. The number 2, you'll see there in the B quadrant. The number 3 is in the C quadrant. The number 4 is in the D quadrant. And the number 5 is in the A quadrant, and then you go 6B, 7C, and so forth, moving in the same pattern. So let's see what we can get up to now. Ready, set, go. All right, let's stop. And I know at this point you've scored much, much higher. Why is that? That's the value of a system. And that's the first thing Michael got in his $1 million discovery is the value of a system. Simply by knowing what to do, you're far more effective. Once Michael understood the value of a system, he was ready to embrace the great contributions of Alfredo Pareto and Deming. So who is Pareto, and why is he important to you? Well, Adam Smith is considered the father of economics, but it was actually Pareto who added statistics to economics. Pareto actually created the 80-20 rule. Here's a big uh-oh for you. When we studied Pareto, we discovered all MLMers were using the 80-20 rule completely backwards. Now, it's certainly well-intentioned, but let's face it, wrong is wrong, and if you build a business model on inaccurate information, it's doomed. Pareto taught that 80% in a successful business of the revenue is driven by 20% of your efforts, or in our case, 20% of the distributors. What? If you compare that to network marketing, where only 2% are driving the deal and less than 0.01% are crushing it, we discovered that Pareto gave us the correct objective. We should have at least 20 people earning wonderful money, driving 80% of the revenue, not 98% of the people failing and only 2% earning. Clearly, this made no sense to Michael either, to copy traditional MLM systems. Why try to improve on something that had, for over 50 years, been ineffective? Why? The wrong objective, sponsor more, sponsor more, sponsor more, and then the wrong target. Then, after you've sponsored more, sponsor more, sponsor more, continue to sponsor more. If you can't build teams that are building teams without you, is sponsoring more people the answer? Well, obviously it isn't. So at this point, we had the target. 20% should be crushing it, okay? Next thing we needed, since we understand the value of a system, is to go find the greatest system builder on the planet and then find and copy the best business models that have systems that get duplication for who? For average people. Hands down, the best system builder on the planet was W. Edwards Deming, also known as Walter Deming. He's a hero in Japan. Why? Well, he's the answer to how Japan took over the car industry. He told General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler, the world is changing. You need a totally different system and management style, but they exhibited affirmational bias, the same way network marketers do. Well, it's the way we've always done it. I'm sure the Grandma Ham story is starting to ring a bell for you. What did Deming bring to the table? Brilliant, innovative, stunning management. His bottom line, deliver superior, world-class, incentivized training at the front of the line, then you'll lower cost and increase quality. So create a great world-class training for entry-level people. Not only did Deming alter the car industry, his style was actually copied by franchisors. So we're really rolling now. Our group hit the top 50 out of over 1.25 million reps. The big news, though, was that our group was anywhere from 40% to 75% smaller than the other top 50. We had more people making more money, hitting Pareto's target. How did we do it? Higher retention and more customers. The missing link, of course, was franchising. That's the industry that actually gets duplication. Look, we all remember some great burger joint. They made the best burgers, the best fries on the planet. Today it's gone. It's been replaced by some average guy who couldn't even cook, and he's making six figures with a McDonald's. Standardized training, shop to shop. So we decided to look at franchises and then compare it to network marketing performance numbers. You see, standardization is the handmaiden to duplication, and we can learn from history, or we can ignore it and continue to cut the end off the ham. If you look at franchises, you'll find that there's 735,000 franchisees. There's 15.8 million network marketers, according to the Direct Selling Association. Here's where it gets really weird. These 735,000 people do 100 times more business than network marketers. And what's the only difference between the models? Well, in MLM, it's multiple choice. In franchises, it's standardized. Somebody joins a franchise and they follow the business plan. They don't get any conflicting information. And what do they get? Duplication from shop to shop to shop, and the model continues to flourish. Network marketing is just the opposite. Conflicting information, which leads to confusion that inhibits duplication. And bingo, Mike's $1 Million Discovery is now complete. So it's a really hard question that good business people will ask. Well, the hard question is, why does the MLM model underperform so much when compared to a franchise? Now, in our 10 years of research before we met Michael, we worked with sociologists, behavioral psychologists, consultants, and outside successful team builders. Brought them to different network marketing meetings and trainings, and they all agreed people who don't move forward with their business, who want to, don't move forward for one simple reason: conflicting information. Different leaders teaching different things. Different leaders, well-meaning, teaching differently. A lack of standardization leads to divisions of teams within a company and divisions within those teams. Failure on the part of companies to eliminate the confusion is why the network marketing model has been faulty at best in terms of performance. That ends here at Social Zing. So at that point, Mike just ran with it. He says, okay, look, I'm all in. It makes a lot of sense. What I'm seeing is you just identified the real objective and then built a system like a franchise type of business plan. Yes? Of course, the answer was yes. You see, most people don't know, even decent and great check cashers, how much money they're leaving on the table because they don't know what the real objective is. See, with Pareto, we've got the target, 20% or more earning great money, and the 80% making money with easy access to earning more. The next step, identify the real objective and systemize it just like a franchise. I think you'd agree that it's pretty hard to hit the bullseye if you're aiming at the wrong target. Back in 1995, I made my own discovery around this, that I was aiming at the wrong target. Get people in, sponsor more, push people to sponsor more, sell product, relationships. Nope. That's what traditional network marketing training is, but it's not the target. Okay? So you're going to write this down. It brought us and thousands from debt and desperation to peace and prosperity. It made Mike a millionaire, and it's put you right on the cusp of history. Here's the real objective. Teams that build effective teams without you. Isn't that really what you want? Teams that build effective teams without you. So the training should be around how to do that in a standardized and systematized way. So now you know the real target. Teams that build teams without you. A team of 20 that swells to 37, and another team of 15 that swells to 28 over the course of the month without your involvement increases your check. Your time is truly leveraged. It's good to know how. So we know what we're aiming at, the real target. How we do it is critical. Knowing what without knowing how, well, it's almost pointless, isn't it? And more importantly, how do we do it in 12 hours a week or less? That's what Mike wanted to know, and that's what we wanted to discover many, many years ago and did. See, leaders we saw making money were all putting in full-time hours, and this is contradictory to what the DSA teaches us. DSA is the Direct Selling Association. 91% of the people were like me. They were like Mike. They were putting part-time hours into this business. So Social Zing has made a common-sense decision. Make it work for part-timers. If we can make it work for part-timers, then there is no limit on earnings. The inescapable conclusion, therefore, is a standardized and systematized training for the average part-timer to learn how to build teams that'll build teams without him or her. So let's just take a little common-sense gut check here. Why are you viewing this training? Why did you join Social Zing? Why does everybody join? Simple. The hope of a different outcome. While people want something different, you might want to put your kids through college. Somebody else might want to fire their boss. The truth is, we all want a different outcome. What do successful people know? A purpose is just a fantasy without a plan. The plan must serve the overall objective to meet their personal objective. The overall objective, teams that build teams without us. A personal objective is specifically what you want from your efforts. If we hit the overall objective, then the personal one happens automatically. So I got a quick pop quiz for you here. What defines a team? A group of individuals with the same jersey. B, everyone doing their own thing. C, everyone working for the same objective with the same playbook. D, everyone working with a different playbook. Well, I'm sure you got the answer to that. While people have individualized objectives at Social Zing, the overall objective is the same. Grow group volume by DTSTing. DTST is really our code for a standardized system. It means doing the same thing, just like a franchise. Now, the next two installments in this story, so that you understand the power of what you're sitting on, are very, very interesting. Mike does a very, very rare thing in MLM. He gives Training Solutions a call a few years later and asks for permission and the price to use the concepts that we had shared with him. And I'm thinking, what? Ethics in network marketing? We say, Mike, take it free and keep us in mind. We think you're destined to do big things. So Mike makes a huge difference for a network marketing company with a training he put together based on these concepts, makes huge bucks and leverages that success and buys a couple of franchises. And Mike and Scott hooked up. Mike's now completely sold on the franchise concept for MLM. Why? Well, he's got a couple of franchises, and he sees how successful they are because everybody in the different shops he have, all what? They do what? They DTST. They all do the same thing. A proven business plan and support to ensure success for each person. So they want to create a hybrid between franchising and network marketing. And as it turns out, he met the right guy and had the right relationship with Scott, who turned out to be a lot more than a visionary. The truth is, Mike and Scott are not visionaries, they're actionaries, and Scott determines, let's get everybody on the same page. So there are no teams at Social Zing. There's no Team Dream Makers or Team Triad or Team Miracle Makers. It really doesn't work. There's one team at Social Zing with one dream. This has been policy from day one. This is what I mean about Mike and Scott being actionaries. No outside training. We're going to develop the trainers from within. We're going to train the trainers and compensate them in a dramatic fashion. Why is that important? It means as people continue to enroll on your team that you don't even know, they won't be getting conflicting information just like a franchise. They'll be hearing the same things no matter what trainer they listen to. So these actionaries decide to move the model, in other words, create rather than compete. They met with Training Solutions, our company. We're the creators of Go 90 Grow. It's a $600 course based on skills, and it takes about a year and a half to actually get into the course. That's how long the waiting list is. Now, why did Scott want that for everybody? Simple. Deming's principle. Provide world-class incentivized training for new people. Scott declared we're going to provide it free to those who earn it. How do you earn it? Well, that's the incentivized part. You just view these trainings, take a little quiz, no waiting, you get dropped into this course. It's exactly what made Mike a millionaire, and it'll work for you too. The big question is, how do we move the model? We want to leverage sound business principles, and instead of being a copy of a copy that underperforms, create. Now, this is going to stun you. The real factor here is to leverage human nature. This should stun you. It's going to drive your business. It's so cool. Social Zing gets it. First of all, let's agree that duplication is really just a 4-syllable word for copy. There's a massive key here, and that's what should stun you, human nature. That's what this is all based on. There's an uncontrollable compulsion. You've got it, I've got it, Mike's got it, we all have it. What is it? Well, do you remember the last time that you went and joined something new like a church or the Elks Club or the Lions Club or the PTA? What was the very first thing you did at the meeting? Do you remember? Most people don't even remember. You unconsciously copied the behavior of the group to gain acceptance. Your subconscious mind looked around that room, saw the behavior of the other people, and you instantly fell in line. Imagine people joining and uncontrollably copying our system. Imagine every conference call and training using the same basics. One team with one dream, no conflicting information that triggers that compulsion to copy the behavior to gain acceptance into the group. You see, you've got something others don't have. Founders with a keen insight into both human nature and business, and they put their money where their mouth is. A standardized system that works just like a franchise. It's not an overstatement that you're on the precipice of history. Clearly, MLM is a superior business model to franchising, and it's just as clear that franchising executes the business better. Social Zing has created a hybrid called the Z-Chise. Top earner Neil states, I've seen it, I've used it, it rocks. At the center is a skill-based $600 training that you'll have access to 24/7. This is tremendous leverage for leaders, and this is part of that incentivized training. Just go through the training, and you get rewarded with this $600 training. And you'll see exactly how this works in Ready, Set, Go. The Z-Chise is actually a hybrid between network marketing and franchising. The best of both, eliminating the negatives. Get the best of franchising without the risk or high startup cost. You get tax benefit funding, a proven system, professional training, local, national, and international advertising. You'll also receive a written business plan that's customized for your lifestyle. You get daily hands-on support from 3 experts in the Z-Chise system. We call that the 3D pattern, and we'll explain that to you in the Get Set training. Not only do you have an international and unlimited market, unlike a franchise, you can expand wherever you want. You're going to get professional training for your people coming in, which provides leaders massive leverage. And of course, with social media being what it is today, you have a hot, market-driven product. In a nutshell, the Z-Chise is systematized and standardized exactly like a franchise, but leverages the network marketing model. And just like a franchise, only certified company-trained people are going to be allowed to train. This is company policy. They'll earn it, and the first trainer school will be completed by 2015, the spring of 2015. Of course, the trainers will be heavily compensated, but more importantly, we're going to rotate them out every 2 years. This will keep everything fresh. This means no matter which trainer does a call, you can count on your people being trained properly about the Z-Chise system, and you'll know what they heard because it's standardized. Let's review up to this point. Today, I'm sure you're starting to understand, Mike and Scott have changed the game. This is the first ever distributor and company training collaboration that's standardized in the history of network marketing. You are part of history, carving a new pathway. We spent hours talking to the distributors. What are their challenges? What would they like to see in here? So it's a collaboration. There's one team with one dream here. That dream, we abandon the old-fashioned network marketing star system of 1 or 2 or 3 top earners. The system, the Z-Chise, is the star, creating a galaxy of big earners. We're standardized. Folks, we've got a hybrid here, the best of franchising and network marketing while eliminating the negatives.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore. It's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. So it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut, and it's not 2 nuts. 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers, because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is over-glorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
This collaboration of a standardized system with distributors is history in the making. You've made a great decision. All you need to do now is take action. The next step, simply follow the Z-Chai system. Go through the 3 trainings, get ready, get set, go. They're much shorter than this foundational introduction so that you can understand what you really have a hold of here. You'll be in income-producing situations within 24 hours if you'll go through those 3 very short trainings. And you won't be alone. 3 Z-Chai's experts will work with you. Here's the link to get ready. Go for it.